Welcome to Mortgage Agility Workbench Training for Processors. My name is Sarah Hushin. I am an Industry Solutions Architect with Lexmark. Today we're going to look at what happens after the borrower and loan officer submit an application. The application first goes through validation. Validation is the step where someone looks at the information that was taken off of the document and makes sure that the system recognized the information correctly so that the correct data or information is input into the LOS. There is a rule that if documents are not reviewed within 24 hours, they will be sent to the LOS. So there is a chance in some cases that you may see documents or information that has not passed through validation and may have some errors that would need correcting. Next, we're going to take a look at the workbench itself, and we're going to go over the business rules that are in place to help do some of the reviews that you're doing today manually, such as name, address, and social security number matches. We're going to take a look at assets in detail. We're going to look at how to request trailing documents and then what to do when trailing documents come in. When you enter the workbench from a loan inside your LOS, you will come to the workbench landing page for that specific loan. What you first see is on the left-hand side a summary of the loan information. At the top we have a drop-down. If you have multiple borrowers, you can use this drop-down to select the borrower that you want to see the documents specific to that borrower. Below that you have general loan information that is specific to this loan that will help you while you do your reviews. You'll have your loan number, program, occupancy, your loan amount. Everything from the loan to value down is being pulled from the LOS. So don't fret if those numbers look odd to you. Those are just placeholders until the information can be pulled from the LOS for the loan. Then we have property information. If they've found a property or if there's an offer accepted on a property and they've submitted a purchase contract or identified a property, you will see the property information. And then you have the list of borrowers. And here you can see we only have one borrower, which would explain why there's only one borrower up here and the drop down is disabled. If you have multiple borrowers, when you would be able to choose a borrower, and you'll see the document specific to that borrower. So these are the documents in the middle for Elizabeth, and you can see her name displayed here at the top. You have a refresh button where once you've done something within the system, you can refresh and it will update the list. Shows you which documents have come in. Gives you a little bit of information about the document. Now this could be one of two things. This might be information that the borrower or loan officer uploading the document typed in because they're able to put in comments, or this is information that we pulled from the document. So for example, bank statements. We extracted or lifted the information saying that it's from Bank of America, that its date is June 27th, 2013. And then, for example, for a W-2, we have a W-2 from Farmers, which is the employee, and it's for the year 2014. And then we have purchase contracts as well. Next, you'll see exclamation points and check marks. So this tells you the rules have been run, some business rules, things that you check. So for in this example, names, addresses, and social security numbers. And the reason that we have exclamation points is because something does not match. So what this tells you is there's a name on this bank statement that maybe doesn't match the names on the loans. So we're checking the names against the system to ensure that they match. That way all the names will be the same. We have a name on a pay stub that doesn't match the name we have in the system. We have a name on a driver's license that doesn't match. Credit reports should always match because once the credit is ordered, the credit and the social security or the name and the social security number are locked and cannot be edited. Now the reason there's so many exclamation points here is for test purposes. My test borrower, Elizabeth, that I needed to pull test credit does not match my test pay stubs, my test driver's license, my test bank statements. So on every one of these, I know that I have a name match. Potentially what you're also looking at though would be a social security mismatch or an address mismatch. So if one of these documents has a different address than the address we have for the borrower, you would see an exclamation point and be able to look at the document and figure out what information isn't matching, and if you need to do anything about it. Status just lets you know if the document is in. You can see up here, this is because previously we had requested a trailing document, and there's a timer that's letting you know that there's a timeline required to get the document. So I requested this bank statement on September 8th. It's due on September 15th. And you can see it has not yet been received because there's not a date in the received column. All of these documents that are blank here in the requested and due, these were documents that were originally submitted when the loan was started. And on the right, we have documents to request. This is where you would build your needed items. So first, to build needed items, you can see Social Security numbers on here. It's not checked. I can check and uncheck them. This just has an effect when I press the request button. So Security card shows up because it was one of the main documents at the beginning and it didn't show up. So if a borrower had not submitted any documents, all of the documents that you see here in the middle would actually show up over here for you to then go ahead and request. So any missing documents from the required documents from a borrower will show up if they haven't been submitted. This bank statement was a statement I added, and this is how you add a document. You click the add button and say that you need a letter of explanation for a bank statement or something along those lines, because there's a borrower on here that doesn't belong on the application. You choose your borrower that you're requesting. So I'm going to request from Elizabeth. If she had a spouse, you could choose the spouse. Let's say I'm going to request a copy of her driver's license because her driver's license is expired. It gives you a default due date of September 30th. Well, today is September 23rd, so maybe I don't want to give her a whole week to turn in a driver's license, so I'm going to go ahead and give her 2 days. She has 2 days to turn her driver's license in, and I'm going to add that document. Okay, you see that document gets populated over here on the Add Documents list. I'm going to go ahead and add another document. We're going to add for Elizabeth. I'm going to add homeowner's insurance deck page. But I'm going to give her until September 30th to get that because truthfully we don't need it till closing. I just need her to go ahead and start shopping for insurance, and I want to remind her of that now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and we've already sent the request for bank statement, so I'm going to undo that one, but I'm going to hit the request button. I'm going to request the 3 documents that are check marked. Okay, it comes up and it shows you the list of documents that you're requesting. It shows you their due date. Social Security card doesn't have a due date. We could go in and edit and add a due date if we'd like to, or you can just leave it and make sure that she gets it in. If you add a due date, let's go ahead and add that due date. That will cause some notifications and alerts to happen. So let's give that a due date of Friday as well. Okay, now we'll go back to our request. Now you can see that we have due dates for all of our documents. We expect her IDs to come in by the 25th, by Friday. That's 2 days from now. And then we expect her insurance to come in about a week. So after reviewing your loan application documents supplied, we need the following, and she'll get this list. You can type any message you want. Please begin shopping for your homeowner's insurance policy and provide us with the name and phone number for the company you choose for insurance. Okay, and then once you're done and you've got this the way that you want it, it says what you need it to say. You can add your name, signature if you want to. You go ahead and hit request. And it's giving you a note down here at the bottom. Email is insecure. Please do not include any personal information in your email. So a lot of the times, a lot of lenders are doing requests via email and whatnot today. This is just kind of reminding you to be cautious about the detail level you put in your email because it is insecure. The request going out, that when they actually send the documents, it's more secure than email because they're sending them from their phone, from their tablet, or from their computer through our system, which is secure. So we're going to hit request. And you can see that those documents were all added to the list. Social Security card now shows up with a request date and a due date. Homeowner's insurance shows up with a request date and a due date. Driver's license, request date and a due date. They were all requested today. What will happen is a notification will go out with that request to both the borrower and the loan officer with the email that you sent. So they'll be notified that there's a request and the information that you need. When those documents come in, you'll see this received date populate. Now we're going to go on and look at assets. So the system is designed when a borrower or a loan officer goes to upload a bank statement. The system is designed to only allow bank statements within the last 2 months unless they designate quarterly, and that it'll allow the most recent quarter. If a borrower or a loan officer tries to submit a bank statement older than that, the system will alert them and let them know that that is outside of the date range that you're looking for. So you should not expect to get bank statements that are older than the last 2 months or the most recent quarter. In addition, if there are missing pages, the system will alert that there are missing pages. So you would not expect to get 7 of 8 pages. You'd only expect to get 8 of 8 pages. It will alert for missing pages. Now you can see here, and I cheated the system a little bit with test case. I was telling it that I had a recent bank statement and actually uploading an older bank statement, but that's just for test case to be able to show you what I have with the test statements that I have. But what you see is we extracted the beginning date and the ending date for the bank statement. We extracted the bank name. You can see the little hover over the account number, the statement balance, and if for some reason this 1003 balance, if the borrower edited or entered something different, you'll see the different balances here. So that will help you decide if you need to take action. Now obviously if the borrower put $1,100 and we see $1,141, it's unlikely you're going to do anything. But if the borrower says they have $10,000 in their bank account and their statement balance says they have $1,100, you might want to ask for a letter of explanation or check to see if they have a recent deposit. Same thing with this bottom bank account here. So you can click on this little link here to drill down into the bank statement or get into it and see some more detail. And what we've done is we have extracted or lifted the information from the bank statement related to large transactions. There is an option at validation for the validator to remove everything except the deposits, but that's going to be up to your company on how you choose to handle that. So here you can see large deposits and you see some withdrawals. So in this particular case, the validator did not remove the withdrawals. They left them for you to see. But we have a payroll. We have $2,500 deposit, and this note is a note I previously made where you can actually type in whatever you want here, request copy, okay, and then come down here and you hit save comment. And then you can see Yahoo, this is obviously payroll. And then these are all negative transactions, so we're not worried about them. But the system is designed to identify large transactions over $500. And this is something that your company can set the level. So if you don't like $500 and maybe you want to do $1,000, or if you want to apply different rules, your company has the ability to set those rules. And then you as a processor are going to see them here based on those rules. And again, in this case, anything over $500 is showing up as a large transaction to be reviewed. Now you can come over and you can add a request to get copies of those deposits. So you would just add them like we saw before, and they would get populated on the list, and you would send out a request. And you wouldn't actually send your request out until the time that you have everything you want over here. So you would review your documents, you would review your assets, populate your list, and then when you're done, you would go ahead and hit request. Next, we're going to take a look at what's still to come with the Workbench. So the first thing that we're going to look into is the drill down into the rules, and I'll show that to you and explain. We're going to look at the document link, we're going to look at selection of large deposits, notes, and then we're going to look at trailing documents, alerts. So we talked about the rules and the exclamation points and the check mark. So the rules again that exist today are the name check, the name on the document against the name in the system, the address check, which is the address on the document against the address in the system, and then the social security number check. So social security number on the document versus the social security number in the system. And if any of those things don't match, you would see an exclamation point. One of the features that is coming in the future is the ability to double click on the document and the exclamation point and drill down and be able to see exactly which of those 3 rules is broken, or if there's any additional rules that your company creates, you'd be able to drill down and see which rule was broken and which rules actually passed, so you know what you're looking for and can make decisions about what you want to do. Now we're looking at an example of what the drill down might look like. This shows you at the top the borrower, and it shows you the borrower's information on the document versus the borrower's information on the application in the system. You can see the address, and you can see there's a little note here that says if the address was different on the loan application, it would actually also display the information on the loan application. So you can see the information in the document, and you can see the social security number. And if these match, you would see a match and a check mark. If they don't match is where you'd see which one, if only 1 or 2 rules were broken. If 2 things didn't match, you'd be able to identify them by the exclamation points. What you see in addition is an area where you can make notes and where you can elevate and assign this to someone else if you needed help or you needed this to be assigned. An additional feature to the system that is coming in the future is the ability to make notes like this and have the notes that you make here in Mortgage Agility copy into your LOS notes so that you're not having to duplicate notes. Likewise, when you send out a request for trailing documents, a note would be added to the notes in the LOS. So those are future enhancements that we're currently working on. Now we're looking at a screen that is an example of the feature that's coming, where you have the ability to click on a document from the document screen, and you just click on the link for the document and a picture of the document would show up. So this case, if you see that you're looking at a W-2 and there's something wrong with the W-2, there's a name that doesn't match or an address or social that doesn't match, and you want to actually take a look at the documents. By clicking on the document, what we're saving is you're not having to go back into the LOS, go into the E folder, and find the income folder and find the W-2. You're able to see the W-2 from this link right here on screen, where you're also seeing the data and the information pulled from that document. The same is true with a bank statement. If you have a name mismatch and maybe there's an owner on a bank account that is not on our loan, and you know we're going to have to ask for a letter of explanation, you'd have the ability to just click on the bank statement and bring up a picture of that document. Now, the documents themselves will still be in the e-folders in the LOS, and you are able to go. This is just meant to be a time saver and a shortcut that when we present information to you and present a document for review, that you're able to just click on the document right here and go ahead and review it from here with the data right next to it. The last 2 things we're going to look at that are features that are coming is the ability on the bank statements that when you come in here and you drill down and look at the large deposits, the ability to select the large deposits that you would like. There will be a checkbox or some way to select these deposits. And for example, in this case, you would not need to request copies of the 2 payroll deposits, but you do need to request a copy of this. And the ability to click on this deposit or select multiple deposits and have them show up as a single line item called large deposits rather than having to add them individually. So you would have a letter of explanation request with the following large deposits, and those large deposit figures that you select over here in the middle would then show up on the letter of explanation as one letter of explanation for large deposits over here on the right. Then the final thing is that when you send out a request and the documents, trailing documents do return and come back. So when we receive these trailing documents in and a received date is populated, that the system would send you an alert that says this document has been received. And this is important so you're not waiting around wondering for documents or having to know to go and look at your files every day. You'll get an alert that says the borrower has submitted the documents requested, and you'll be able to come in and do a quick review of those new documents. This concludes our Workbench processor training. We're going to now open it up for questions.